Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans. Almost forgot my lines then. For Arsenal fans all over this world. It's another Friday. I think, wasn't it just the other day we did the first segment of the Easy Talk? Oh my goodness. They do say, time flies because it's a sign of age. I must be getting younger, Tim. I must be getting younger.
Yeah, that's it.
So we've got two familiar faces. We are waiting for the chairman of the board to enter the building or the committee room. Got some problems with his Wi-Fi, but hopefully once we get going, he'll be coming in and jumping in and giving us orders as a chairman should do. But before we get into this one, let's get into this on the other side of this music intro. Yes, indeed, my friends. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. It's the second episode of the Easy Talk, the flagship segment on Cannon Fodder TV. Now, there are two familiar faces waiting for the chairman of the board to enter in the committee room. But first, I'll go to Don Larry. Don Larry, it's been a while. How are you, my friend?
I'm cool. I've been expecting this opportunity. I was sure that when the season starts, we'll be on Easy Talk once again, and I'm happy for having me once again.
Okay, are you a religious man? You say you're religious?
Religious? Yes, I'm a Christian. So I believe in God and I believe in what God can do.
Okay, well, listen, bottom of the table. We better get on our knees and start praying now.
Listen, I don't link religious with football because it is what you get, is what you do that you get. Garbage in, garbage out. It's what effort you put in that you get the result. You understand? So
yeah.
You cannot say you want to pray. I cannot say I will be praying. Then a goalkeeper will go and sleep, and then a striker is coming and defender is looking at him because there is God. No. You score 20 goals.
Okay, all right.
Cannot hold any striker.
Tim Hogan, welcome back. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder TV. Been a long while, actually.
As you know, myself and Eltel venture in a different direction for the summer months. We partake in a different sport, not too dissimilar actually. They're all about getting the goals and not conceding scores, so very similar in that manner. So we have been back. We've had a bit of a kind of a Gooners away from home camp set up here, and unfortunately I think we've seen nearly all the matches: Brentford, Chelsea, Man City, and we were very diligent. We watched the pre-season. We even watched Arsenal-Chelsea pre-season, which they also lost, I have to say. But anyway, the only match we haven't seen, or the only match we missed, was the 6-0 win in the Carabao Cup against West Brom. So, but other than that, we've had a good viewing, a good few matches, and well, I suppose we'll get more into it as the time goes on, but it's definitely, as you said, time for crisis talks or deeply religious events or something anyway to try and turn the tide. Something has to happen and happen fast.
Yeah, some divine intervention. And last but not least, the chairman of the board has arrived in the committee room a little bit late. Mube Guna, what's happening, brother?
Hey, we had to get the internet sorted out because we can't have any kind of login when we on this for hours. So I had to reboot everything. Apologies for being late. Well, we're here, man, back on the show. Appreciate y'all as always, man. But
all right, okay. Well, listen, it's all good. It's good to see you back again. Yeah, the old crew's back together again. Although North Bank Ninja could have been here, but he had other more important things to be thinking about than coming on a podcast. Right, so let's get into this one. The good, the bad, and the unmentionables. Don, has there been anything good about the start of this season, please? Tell me something good.
You know what the only thing, the positivity about the start of the season is the players that we signed. At least Martin Odegaard, Sambi Lokonga, And well, those are the two. You see, for me, Ben White, yeah, I agree, but it wasn't necessary because we have this guy that we sent to France. What's his name again? Saliba. Ben White wouldn't have been necessary, but I don't know the politics behind it. Those are the positivity, but the bad is deep beaten by Brentford. Sorry, deep beaten by Chelsea and Man City. The worst was being beaten by Brentford.
But Don Larry, I mean, yeah, we're playing against the Champions League winners, Premier League winners. There were no surprises, really, Don. There were no surprises. We're always going to lose against them.
Yes, we are not surprised. I am not surprised, but you know, it is still the fact that we are beating 5-0. You understand? That we are beating is the bad thing about it. So whether we play against the Champions League winner, the Super Cup winner, the Premiership winner, but the thing is, the bad about it is that we are beating and we are at the bottom of the league. This is the first time in a very, very long year, over 70-something years right now. We did not score a single goal. We conceded 9 goals. You understand? That is the worst of all. So it's not encouraging at all. If you can lose, but you must lose gallantly. Are you getting me? You can lose, but you lose gallantly. How can we have concede 9 goals and have 0 points? When the club like Nando FC is having 9 points, you know, and they're on top of the league. The club down the road, they are 9 points and on top of the league. You can see the irony of it. And we consider 9 goals and we are at the bottom of the league. You see, you can see that we are in a bad situation right now. But I believe in our next games, because there's no excuse again for Arteta. All the players are back and on full force. There's no excuse.
Tim, the good and the bad, please.
The good is Odegaard is now ours. Odegaard, and I think Odegaard is going to be a very, very central player for Arsenal for not long, for the next number of years, not just the next couple of months, not this season, the next number of seasons. Now, the other good thing is we have fixtures that were, Joe, like you said, we played Chelsea. Chelsea are the Champions League champions. Man City are the Premier League champions. We've those 2 matches played out of the way. Now, there was one other, I'm going to call it good thing, is that we played Brentford on the first day, and we played, we'll say, Chelsea in the second match, right? Now, when we played Chelsea in the pre-season, Lukaku hadn't arrived, now, but when we got to play them in the Premier League, Lukaku had arrived at that point. And when Lukaku arrived, he added firstly, as Kevin De Bruyne and most Man City players found out in the Champions League final, these are an aggressive team. They're a physically imposing team. They are in it they're in it to win it. Like they're up for the fight. But what hopefully we learned from our exposure to Chelsea is that when you're playing against Lukaku, you need physicality. You need physicality in the center of your defense, and this is the point I think that was most obvious in the Brentford match. Like Brentford came up first day out. Joe, they were playing a Premier League team, and the second goal we conceded that day was from a long ball into the box that bounced inside in our box, and no one could get in the end of it. We couldn't clear it. Now, that to me, as I said, sometimes there's an analogy that I always use, is that if this was a dessert, we had sugar and cream, with no fruit or no nuts. In other words, there was no one in there that the Brentford attack were afraid of. There was no one physically imposing that was going to put his head or drive people out of the way and get that ball cleared. And that's what Lukaku has done for us. He has highlighted that the center of our defense. Now, hopefully Keane, or White, I should say, hopefully White will be this great playmaker and good at transitioning the ball and all that stuff. But we need a strong central defence. And if you're talking about the options we have available, I would say that not only do we need a strong central defence beside White, I'd say we also need a strong holding kind of midfield in front of us. So the good to me, I'll come back to the bad and the unmentionable later, but the good to me is we have fixtures played that were very difficult fixtures. We have been major flaws have been exposed, and one other flaw, which is directly at the manager's door, is that we went up. We were playing Man City, right? Man City play this tiki-taka, whatever they call it, football, continuously passing the ball around. Now, we went up that day, and we have, like, for the last number of years, have been playing kind of a pivot, I'm going to use it, but we have, let's say, Odegaard, and we'll just put Saka and Smith Rowe either side of him. They are our players, and that's our attack. And we, like, didn't have the support to, like, we had Odegaard too far back is the point I'm trying to make. Like, Odegaard is usually that playmaker role. That day, he seemed to be much further back. He seemed to be standing beside Xhaka, and I think we had lost the mind games early on. Like, that's my belief. So that's the good. I'll do the bad and the unmentionable later.
Just a quick question, Tim. In regards to the additions, the transfer window, if you had to give the transfer business that Arsenal has done out of 10, how much would you give them out of 10?
I'd say 6 at best. I don't think maybe a lot will depend if the goalie, if White can settle in as a good central defender, and Sambi Lokonga, if he can be, ultimately Xhaka has a vital. Maybe that Xhaka hasn't, but in that role beside Partey, that's a vital role for us. Like, I remember, and you all remember, like, Patrick Vieira was a brilliant player, right? Just unbelievable. But Patrick Vieira had Gilberto Silva beside him, Emmanuel Petit beside him, Tony Adams, another great player. Tony Adams had Martin Keown, Steve Ball beside him. The player that's playing the support role can often decide how effective your marquee player is. I mean, we have this player in Ireland who's a big, he's iconic. Paul McGrath is his name, and Joe Baton, and he played for United and Aston Villa, but he was very successful at Villa. But there was a guy playing beside him called Sean Teal. No one ever heard of Joe. He had a big reputation, but he allowed a platform. And I remember John Terry one time, who would be another kind of Tony Adams type big, brilliant central defender. But you remember one year Chelsea won the FA Cup, and they had a guy beside him, and his name was Alex, but his nickname was the Tank. And that'll give you an indication of what he brought to the equation. So I think we have to get our balance in the middle of our center of our defence and in our central midfield right, and then I think we have a great team from there. I'll put it this way: with Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, those would be my 3. Now I understand there's other options there, but like they'd be we have a real attacking force. But the problem is, up to now, all we've seen is just chaos and heads going down and indiscipline. That's the biggest problem I see. Like,
okay, thank you, Tim. Mube Guna, if you can hear me, I think you've got still some lagging problems in your Wi-Fi. Chairman of the board.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
We can hear you. We can just about see you. Got all pixelated on the screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Your thoughts, the good and the bad.
I can hear you. Can you hear me good? The good. Let's talk about the good first, because I'm always positive. I'm a positive.
I know.
I'm ready. I'm always positive. Okay, so let's start with the good first.
Even though we're bottom of the league, we're still positive. Go for it.
Yeah, still positive. Look, first of all, I'm gonna address the Ben White situation, because we're judging him off one game that he played for us against. One game, 3/4 of our starting 11 wasn't even playing with him. At all. So that fan already jumped on his back saying he's a flop to one game against Brentford, where he made a mistake with the rest of the players that let that second goal go in, and we're judging him one game. We did this with a lot of players. I just want to take a step back and say, what have we seen this player to really judge him to say he's not worth what we pay for him or he won't change? We haven't seen him. He played one game for us. Okay. The transfer window that you said, gave it a 6. I think one midfield player away, signed midfield, a defensive midfielder, away from that being perfect will to me in the circumstances that we're in. Just because
I think you've got some problems with your Wi-Fi. There's your audio is coming in and out. But I think you can carry on unless. Do you want to carry on?
I'll change. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'll come right back. Move up right back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Technical problems always happens, especially when the sharing with the board is yeah. What I wanted to quickly say to Tim, don't get me wrong. I do like Martin Odegaard, and I think when I look at how we've played the first 3 games, the first team are off 2 or 3 more additions. I understand we spent £150 million in the transfer window, but those players are there just to beef up the squad and not improve the first team. So wonderful, Odegaard. Samuel Lokonga wasn't brought in really to start in the first team. And now that we know that Xhaka's out, suspended, stroke, contracted COVID, we're not even sure if Samuel Lokonga is going to feature. Smith Rowe got called back because he was unwell on international duty. So the midfield, with the additions, we're still going to be short, Tim. We're still short.
We are, and I do agree with the Mobe Gunnar. I do agree that one of our big I think I hope I heard him right there, that he says the one big problem he had felt with the transfer window was the lack of a central midfielder. Like I agree totally with that. Now Smith Rowe if he is missing, that's actually the one place with Martinelli and Pepe, we kind of have a little bit of wriggle room there. We can do so. We could even bring Aubameyang out if Lacazette was back. So you have few, but I do agree that area is we're very, very thin on the ground. And like ultimately last year, like this, just go back to last year, I had this thing, and I think we made this point on the Easy Talk a couple of times last year, is that our best, or the key player for us last year, let's say, I suppose the 2 key players were Saka, outstanding last year, great year in attack, and the other one that I would pick out would have been Tierney. And we kind of had this, he was very good, he was aggressively defending, he was mobile, he attacked well, but there was a disconnect. I felt there was a disconnect when he was going up, let's say the left-hand side, that these crosses going in, that when you were putting a cross in to Lacazette, Balogun, who else, Aubameyang, if you're putting crosses into those, let's say they're probably our 3 front main out-and-out strikers, would say, from what we've seen to date so far, that they would be, it's all a bit of a lottery. You know what I mean? We haven't really got what I would call, now maybe I was a bit besotted with Lukaku when I saw him, but like, there was no one in our central defence had the physicality to match him. And then if you want to just play, as I says, Monopoly games one against the other, there was no one in our attack that would have the same effect on the opposition as Lukaku was having on us. So that was the point I'm trying to make. Even though we have Saka, sorry, go on. I don't want to be down.
Sorry, Tim. Mube's back. I need to get to Mube. I want to get his opinion. Mube.
Very good.
Yeah, Mube.
Yeah. I was enjoying listening to Tim. Good to hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's your turn now, Mube.
Okay. Yeah. I changed the mic. I think it was the headpiece that I had. Battery was dying. Okay. But like I was saying, the transfer window, the players that we bought. We sat here last year, and I came on the show with you a few times before, Alex, and we've been here before. And you sit here and you say, I used to complain about David Luiz all the time. No, I didn't. It wasn't my favorite player. But when he's not in our team last year, we missed him. We missed him because the way that we're trying to play, when he's not playing, those balls out from the back, we just don't have that player to do it. Saliba is probably maybe to be that player, maybe it's not. We don't know. I haven't seen enough of him to say that he's the player to come and play in a central defense and take over and just start the central defender for Arsenal and just hit the ground running.
But
None of us know that.
But Muba, that's the problem. We don't know. We don't know. He hasn't been given a chance. At least he was given maybe 5 games and then he failed. Then we could say, all right, actually, he's not ready. But he hasn't been given the opportunity. And that's why
last year.
Go on.
Last year, and we sit here and we said that Marie was our best central defender. A lot of time I come on the show and I hear that argument that last year at point, he was our best central defender. This year, he's the worst central defender. A lot of the goals that we conceded he's been at fault so much this season. He's been the worst. We've seen him play this bad. So that's what I'm saying. We can't pinpoint our problem just on Ben White from playing against Brentford. That's the point I was trying to make when I made that point. Now, as far as our transfer window go, we sat here 2-3 years ago and we complain about our wage bill and the overage players that we had at the club, Mkhitaryan, Socrates, Ozil, all these players that we had at the club. We had one of the worst wage bill in the league, and it was on Sky Sport News every single day. They make sure they talk about Arsenal wage bill is a Champions League wage bill, and we're playing in the Europa League. Now, the club has worked hard over the last 2 years. We haven't made a lot of money on these players because they, let's be honest, wouldn't work nothing anyway. But we haven't made any money on these players. But we got so much players out of this club in the past couple of years that was on 200,000 a week. Mkhitaryan was on over 200,000. We brought in William. They said that was a mistake. They got rid of him. Ozil got rid of him. Socrates got rid of him. We got rid of so much players. Last year, we needed a back goalkeeper because Leno got too comfortable. Leno is my guy, but he got too comfortable. Without Martinez, he dropped off a lot because we seen him at his best when he first came to this club, and he was a very good goalkeeper. Last year was not his year. I think that's because he didn't have that competition. What we did, we went out and we got a Premier League experienced goalkeeper that people went up and just didn't even give him a chance to play one game. Everyone was like, we should be signing this player. He's the worst goalkeeper in the league. He's relegated 2 teams. Not to mention the fact he was playing one of the worst teams. But all of a sudden, he played one game in the League Cup, and now everyone is calling for him to start over Leno. It's just kind of weird. It's just kind of weird, So, which I don't have a problem with. Whoever they want to start, they can start. So I'm saying there's a lot of negativity with the position that we're at. You can't defend that's it's appalling. We haven't played well. We haven't scored a goal. We have conceded a lot. We're bottom of the league. There's no hiding that fact. That's on the manager. But you look at the team we have now, and like Don Laurie said earlier, Arteta has no excuses now. Last year we needed a right back. We knew for years we needed a new right back. Bellerin fell off bad. We've tried different players in the position, haven't worked. Now Arteta went out there and got what he needed. Central defense, I do think that Gabriel is a imposing central defender. I do think he is, because we have seen him done it before. We haven't seen him yet this season. You see what I'm saying? So we can't forget what he's done before. We've seen him played in this league and play well. For a point, he was our best defender in the league. We signed for us, came straight into our team, and he did work for a long period of time till he fell off to the tail end of last season. So we can't forget that he was very good for us. I think him and Ben White can be a partnership. It can work. We haven't seen it yet. I think in the middle of the field, if we can keep Partey fit, is what I'm saying. With Sambi look real good. I didn't expect him to look this good. He looks a player. As young as he is, he looks a player. So give the club credit for finding a gem like that too, because we always say we need to stop buying players. For all this money, we can go out there and find players for cheap. We went out there and find this guy for under $20 million, and he looks great. Looks better than what we have. Sure, it's better than El Nene. I don't know why we didn't get rid of him, but that's a story for another day.
Leave him alone, man. He scored more goals than Xhaka.
I don't want to hear about that. He needs to go. But I do think we missed a trick in the midfield. I do think we needed another player. And I'm being honest when I said I think if we had got a midfield player, I know people are going to say, that can't be right. I really would have think that's a perfect window, because we got a backup left back, what we didn't have last season. We got a right back that we needed. We got a backup goalkeeper that we needed. And as much as people want to, we needed a central defender. Even if we had got Saliba back, I still think we needed a central defender because Marie is just not good enough. I think holding time is up. It's time to cash in on this English tax and get rid of him. Because Holden he's not getting any better. Every year we want him to break out and beat a Tony Adams. It's just not going to happen. We need to cash in on English tax. While he probably can't get a lot from him because he don't even have an English cap. I don't think he probably wouldn't get a lot. But Holden's just not good enough. Even if we bring Saliba back, I still think we need another central defender. You see what I'm saying? And I don't. People was saying, bring Madison in and this in. Madison cost $80 million. We're going down the same road with Pepe again. Why would we do that? That's what I'm saying. You can't get, cuss the club for getting a player like Pepe for 72, but then justify we going to pay $80 million for Madison when you have a Smith Rowe, when you can get Odegaard for $40 million. It makes no sense whatsoever. So that's where I'm at this point.
Mube, very quick question before I go to Don Larry. You spoke about the midfield. We've missed a trick in the midfield. Who would you have liked Arsenal to have brought to beef up the midfield?
And to be honest, I wouldn't expect us to go out and get a world-class midfielder. A player like OR they say he was available for cheap. There's something going on with that deal because for some reason no one wanted it, and it's just kind of fishy. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's kind of fishy. But me saying that we need another midfielder, we don't even have to buy one. I think we should have just kept Torreira. We should have just kept him. That's the thing. People think because I say we need another midfielder. That don't mean I want us to go spend $50 million on somebody to play alongside. You don't have to do that. You can just go get what we already had. He's our player. He had another year left on his contract. Now the only way I think they can fix it, and we'll see, with Xhaka out now and Elneny out, we'll see. If, and me and you was talking about this on Twitter, Alex, if he finally decide to use Niles in that central midfield role, get that right back position, because we have too much right back at this club. He's not needed in that position anymore. We got Chambers, we got Cedric, and we just signed Army. We don't need him in that position anymore. So for some reason, they kept him at this club because he wanted to leave. The only reason I think while he's still here is to tell him that he's going to use him as a midfielder because we're short there. He's not needed at right back anymore. He's not needed at left back anymore. We have two. So that's the only way I could justify them not getting the midfielder. But like I said, the next 4 games for Arteta is pivotal. We have to win these next 4 games. We can't drop none of these points, especially against Spurs. I'm not letting them off on that one either. We have to beat them. Have to.
Listen, Tim, Don, listen to Mube talk for the last 5-10 minutes. And it's very rare that I agree with Mube Guna. So, Mube, I agree. Don Larry. Don Larry, your thoughts, please, man. Your thoughts.
At first, I would have, if we agree to buy a new midfielder, I would have loved if this Besuma to come in. But like Mube said, if we don't necessarily need to spend money, I would prefer Guendouzi over what's his name now?
Elneny.
No, not Elneny. The one that went to Italy now.
Torreira. Lucas Torreira.
Yes. I would have preferred Guendouzi. Because one, the height is necessary, and then Guendouzi is more aggressive than Torreira. Torreira is not comfortable in England, so he has that emotional and mentality problem, and it really works against him. But Guendouzi is a fighter. This is what gets me annoyed with Arteta. Why he refused to allow Guendouzi to play because he fought on our behalf. Yes, he's a fighter and someone fought on behalf of the team. It shows passion, So the problem we have is that Arteta has man management problem, and this is what You can imagine Shaka that was supposed to be on the way to Roma, all of a sudden there was a change, and they had to give him another additional contract with increment in salary. And all he could give us was a red card. You know, we were talking about if he's judging Guendouzi based on attitudinal problems. What about Shaka? Shaka to the moment has not apologized, and this is the second time he's been forced him and he refused to apologize to the fans. He is so arrogant and pompous, but yet you prefer him. Now, for me also, I will have given this our transfer business this season 8/10 because one, we know that we needed a right back, and then we bought one. We needed a cam and we got one. We needed the backup goalkeeper who would give Leno a serious competition, and we got one. You understand? The only area, like I said, and I'm not totally in disagreement, was so much money that was spent on Ben White, where we got Saliba. You understand? So those are the things I can see. And for me, if I wanted to do business in this transfer window, I wouldn't have gotten Ben White. I would have allowed Saliba to maintain that position, to combine with Gabriel, then get Yves Bissouma to support Party and still get Lokonga as a backup. Then also get Nuno Tavares as a backup to Kieran because we've been missing that side for too long because of injury. Then also get a good cam like we got Odegaard. Odegaard is good in that position. Then maintain and luckily we were able to sell Joe Willock for 25 million. And able to sell, for me, I would have sold Xhaka, even if it's for 10 million. Let him go with his problems. Then go and get Lautaro Martinez. If we have moved faster, Chelsea wouldn't have been able to get Lukaku, because that was the option they gave. The owner of Inter said, if Lautaro is going, Lukaku must stay. If Lukaku is going, Lautaro must stay. Mm-hmm. You understand? I knew that Aubameyang he cannot match with the way he has been playing. He can't. He's just struggling. I know. It's the guy that I love so much. You understand? But age has started telling on him. And age tells on strikers because you need to be sharp. To strike, you need to be very, very sharp. If Aubameyang had been a defender, he would have been using experience like David Luiz. Are you getting me? You need a very sharp attack. Somebody who the reflexes, your brain can coordinate very well. So age has started telling on Aubameyang and it's getting tiring easily. You understand? Then coupled with the captainship that was given to him is also a source of distraction. So I would have made sure I would have allowed him to go. If Barcelona wanted him or whoever wanted him, cash in on him, say Lautaro Martinez. You understand? Those are what I could have done as a transfer business. But upon this, I gave them like 7/10 because of the fact that they got the right back. Though I've not watched Tomiyasu, I don't know how good he is, but with the stuff that I read about him and that he can play many positions and he did very well. You understand? I watched some of his clips and I saw the way he tackles players like Ronaldo, players like Paul Diabala, and so forth like that. So it gives me hope. At least it will be better than Bellerin, Chambers, and Cedric. You understand? So I also for getting Odegaard also. That's what I rate as 7/10.
Tim, talking about the unimaginables. Here's a stat here for you. So Arteta has had 42 different starting 11s in 45 games. We're bottom of the league, as everyone knows. 9 goals against, and we can't score a goal. Now I know Muba has spoken about the right back situation, the centre back, the midfield, but who would have thought that we would struggle to score goals, Tim? We can't score goals.
Yeah, and actually, the first point you made there is the most relevant of all these points. 42 combinations, 45 matches. That is the problem. That is, I think everything else, and myself and Mube, I think are kind of on the one hymn sheet. But I'm going to use now, and like I said, I agree totally with Mube, but I'm going to have one example. Holding. Just take Holding for example, right? Holding is just a central defender, meat and two veg, as they say in Ireland. He just does the basics, functional. That's all he does, right? So if you're putting him into the center of your defense, and you're putting in combinations around him that are varying, that has different systems and all that, you're just not. You're not going to get the best out of him. Like if we're going to use the Man City game now as an example, right? He was in the center of our defense that day. Now, traditionally, like you said, 42 systems, but for the majority of those 42, anyway, the personnel have been different, but the system has been 2 central defenders and 2 central midfielders. But that day, and a playmaker, Odegaard largely been the playmaker in front of those 2 central midfielders. That has been the kind of combination. But several times, I think it was with Villarreal last year, a couple of times when the crisis, when the real pressure was on, he changed the system. Like changing your system when you're under pressure, firstly shows weakness or lack of confidence in your own player's ability, in terms of that you don't believe that, like Holding, Xhaka, those 2 players are, let's say, Joe, we have those players now, like whether we want them or not, we have them, and so we have to try and utilize them. And I always see there's a phrase, I think it's in golf. Now, I'm not a big golf person, by the way, but anyway, I watch one golf tournament every 2 years, roughly. But anyway, God, that says, let the big dogs eat. And the phrase is based around, it's these young, powerful athletes with their golfing, and they have unbelievable range in their striking of the drivers, because if they're confident, in other words, if that's the whole idea, you set an environment where they're confident, they will record unbelievable numbers. And if you set an environment where you are playing 2 central midfielders, 2 defenders behind them, and you are showing confidence in them, then Holding against Man City, I would be, if I was Holding after that, I would be personally insulted the way I was treated. I was left in the middle of a makeshift central tree. Xhaka was in front of me. He got sent off, so I was really exposed. Then the major out ball we have was Odegaard, except we brought him too far back. So in other words, with a team like Man City, you were drawing him on you. You were providing, like as the saying goes, the best form of defense is attack. And if you have Odegaard up front, working hard, putting opposition defenders on a press, all that sort of stuff. If you Smith Rowe and Saka, players that are really good with the ball at their feet, taking on fullbacks, if you have those up, then that is your first line of your defense. Now, I have question marks over maybe whoever we have centre forward, but we'll just take those 3, for example. If you were defending from there, the pivot that the ball is going through is far up the field, you're creating opportunities, and more importantly, you're providing support. And this maybe is kind of go back over a small point or a similar point to what I made earlier. I think White could be an outstanding player. There's no doubt White could be like Gary. I always use the analogy that of Pomegranate. I'm going to move away from Pomegranate because maybe not everyone's heard of it. But you remember Pallister at United, and he was like Adams at Arsenal. They were 2 brilliant players. But Pallister played beside your man Steve Bruce, the present Newcastle manager. Very, very, very ordinary, functional, aggressive, got stuck in, but a very one-dimensional player. Ben White, if he had a good player beside him, a kind of a Steve Bruce, if Holding or Gabriel, now I do understand totally that Gabriel is ahead of Holding. I'm not arguing that point, but I do think that if you got those 2 together, that would be a lot better. And having your 2 and having the same system than kind of panicking, putting central backs in or fullbacks into central positions. Next thing you're falling between 2 stools. Like ultimately, the Brentford game, the Man City game, and the Chelsea game. Like we've lost those 3 games, right? Why did we lose those 3 games? I believe we lost those 3 games for one serious reason, is that in all 3 games, the center of our team. In other words, our two central midfielders and our two full and our what I would call an A standard pair of centre backs were not present. So the first day, I think we had Mari, who was playing very badly with White. So I think he exposed White badly, like this famous ball that bounced in the square, no one would get the end of it. Against Chelsea was the best example of all, because that was the day Lukaku came to town. He's physical, he's aggressive, he's going to run at you. We were caught, we were exposed badly. Actually, that could have been the one where Mari was caught out. And then the day against Man City it wasn't so much the centre. Well, we decided we wouldn't go with two centre defenders. We kind of had this makeshift three, and then we had our two in front of us. So I think we offered up an awful lot in that Man City game. And to me, Arteta is a good manager. I have great faith in him, but like you say, he's turning out to be a bit of a tinker man. Joe, he's continuously fiddling with things, not letting things settle, and maybe personnel need time. And without a doubt, I do believe that we as an attacking entity are very strong, and if we can get the center of our defense right, we will do well. And just to follow on from a point that Mube made, is that the season, the league table doesn't matter. It matters for Spurs because, to be honest, they're in nosebleed country. They were never that far up before in their lives. You know, it matters, but it doesn't matter for anyone else. It matters for us because we're so far down. But 5 weeks' time, that's when it'll matter. The 1st of October, that's when you look at the Premier League. Now the patterns are developing. You have 6, 8, whatever number of matches played. You have, ultimately, I was kind of thinking, what are my expectations? So I said give him 5 matches now. So where do I see in 5 matches? It's very easy because we presently have 0 points. So you don't have to add it on at all. You just come up with your total. So you just say, if the performances were good, if the spine looks strong, if we were scoring goals, 8 matches in, 11 points. If you were still showing signs of weakness, but you felt the thing was moving the right direction, 12 points. If you were still cobbling with systems like you have outlined there, Alex, if you're still fiddling, too much tinkering going on, you'd want to be going very well. You want to have 13 or 14 points. That's what it is. You have 5 matches, 5 threes or 15, and that was the criteria I was using going forward. That's what I believe is that Arsenal are a big club. They need to be getting those sort of numbers in the next 5 matches.
Tim, before I go to Mube, just a very quick question to you.
Yeah.
So, do you think Arteta needs to win the next 4 games to save his bacon?
I think he needs to get 11, 12 or 13 points in the next 5 matches. How he does that, it can be 3 wins, a draw. It can be 4 wins, a loss. It can be, whatever way you want to arrive at 11, 12 or 13. There's multiple ways, but he has to win about 3 out of the 5 anyway.
So let's just say, for example, he goes on a 5-game winning streak, but then loses the next 4.
Oh,
then
no.
What happens?
The big thing is the center of your defense, the center of your midfield, and Odegaard as the outlet. If you have that sorted out, I believe you can give him more time then. In other words, if we have got we have a system and we believe in the system. Like that, I didn't know that statistic now until you said it there, Alex. But 42 different combinations, that's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah. And they're overcoached. I'm a coach myself, as you know, myself and Terry are at this an awful lot. But the coaching is, you can be overcoached. That's the problem. He did well out of COVID because empty stadiums, he was on the sideline. You were nearly playing every ball with the players. Now the stadiums are full. There has to be autonomy. There has to be leaders. And the leaders have to be in central positions. Your centre back, centre midfield, centre forward, they have to be. I often say that the centre forward, now I know Thierry Henry, but Thierry Henry is just he's not gold standard, he's platinum standard, he's way above. So I know he was a captain. But most of the good captains were centre halves or centre midfielders because they're where the action is being played. They're able to dictate it. You get the odd. Funny enough, I saw a profile of Thierry Henry only this week, and he said I wasn't even a centre forward. He said, because imagine him to say that after all the goals he scored, because he said, when did I ever hit a goal? So he was that type of player. He was able to come left, come right, come deep. Like, he was just so explosive. So he was not your norm. You can really compare nobody to Thierry Henry, or you can't. And I hope Odegaard is a brilliant player, and you can't compare anyone to Dennis Bergkamp either. Those type of playmakers, strikers, they're once in a lifetime type players. Sorry,
Okay.
after hogging it there, and I didn't want to get on
it.
it.
Okay. So Muba, you spoke about the centre backs, Ben White, the midfield. Maybe we could have looked to bring in a Lucas Torreira back to partner Thomas Partey, but you never spoke about the strikers. We can't score goals, Mube. We can't score goals. 3.
Yeah, but I'm not looking at individual players for scoring goals. We're not scoring goal because of Aubameyang. Aubameyang started one game this season. That's against Manchester City, where Xhaka gets sent off in the first half. We can't blame him for not scoring in the game. There's no way I'm going to blame him for that. Okay, he came on against Chelsea when we were 2-0 down. I'm not going to blame him for not scoring in that game. Chelsea were comfortable. There's nothing we was going to do in that game. He didn't play against Brentford. So I can't sit here and blame Aubameyang for not scoring goal. I can't put it on one player. Lacazette haven't played.
I didn't mention
I know,
his
but
name.
I'm just saying we're acting as if we had a different striker in, it would have been different. I mean, you playing 10 men against Manchester City, 2-0 down with 10 men. I don't care if you got prime Ronaldo from Brazil playing center forward. You're not going to get the ball to your center forward playing against Manchester City at home. It's just not going to happen. We're just that good. Okay, so Aubameyang was starved against Manchester City. It wasn't his fault that he didn't score or we didn't score. Against Brentford, we had chances to score. But again, last season, we cried for Balogun to play. A lot of us, just play Balogun. Aubameyang is not scoring. Lacazette is not scoring. Just play the young kid. And then we play him, and then he doesn't play well, and now everybody want to go buy another striker. It doesn't work like that. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing I'm having. I'm not ready to write off Aubameyang because of what happened last season. I'm not going to do that because I think he deserves another shot because of what he has done since he has been here. Last year was a bad year for him. All of us can agree to that, and not just him, the whole team. We finished 8th, but I'm not going to write him off just because of last season. I haven't seen him this season yet. We haven't seen him this season yet. We haven't seen him played a team with 11 players, with the best players around him. If you want to pick players, the play against Chelsea, the second goal, but both of the goals against Chelsea, you can blame Thierry and Saka for letting those goals in. I know Marie got run over by Lukaku, but they came from the left. Saka didn't cover his man. Tierney let his man in, run right past him, square the ball into Lukaku. Boom, it's over. So we can't just pinpoint one player. The whole team as a whole haven't played well over these last 3 games. I'm not going to pinpoint none of our strikers. I can't blame Aubameyang because he hasn't played. The one game that he started, we played with 10 men for 60 minutes. So I can't blame him for that. I can't blame Odegaard because Arteta decided to play Kolasinac. I don't know where he come from. I even started a Premier League game for him. And that's who I'm looking at. I'm not looking at these players anymore. Now that we have a fit squad, and I have backed Arteta, and I have backed him, and I'm still going to back him. I say I'm going to give him 10 games this season. With what my guy Tim said, you can't really look at what's happening after 3 games. I always say 10 games to the season. That's what it always been. The year you look at the 10 games, and then the tables start falling to where it's supposed to fall at. You pretty much know what kind of season you're going to have after 10 games. That's why I say I would give him 10 games. The next 4 or next 6, as Tim said, like, I'm not going to count the AFC Wimbledon game because I don't really care about the League Cup. But in the Premier League, the next 5, 6 games in the Premier League, he has to win. And I'm talking about struggling against Norwich at home. If you get a Partey in your midfield, play well. If you have the Partey in your midfield, if you have a Sambi Lokonga in your midfield, I don't really care about Granit Xhaka. He shouldn't be starting anyway. But if you get Ben White and Gabriel in your central defense, if you have your right back, if you have Tierney, if you have Saka, fully fit, playing well for England, if you have Pepe, didn't go on international break, been here the whole time, training, fully fit, you have a Lacazette, he's been here the whole time. If you want to start him, if you want to start Aubameyang up front, if you have all of those players on the field, and we still look like we look against Chelsea or Brentford, I can't blame the players no more. There's no way we can blame the players.
But you know what, Muba, you mentioned if like 8 times in the space of 2 minutes. if this, if that, if you know what you mentioned about you're going to give him maybe 10 games. Again, same question. He goes on an unbeaten run of maybe 8 games, Mube, then loses the next 3 or 4 games. What do you do then? Do you still give him time? He goes on an unbeaten run of 10 games, but then loses the next 6 games. What do you do with Mikel Arteta? Do you still give him time, or because, like I said to you on the tweet, I don't have an invested interest about Arteta in or Arteta out. I am Arsenal, and that is it. That is it. But what do you do? 10 games, unbeaten run, but the next 5 games.
And that's why I mentioned it's not just about the results. It's not just about the result, because I think if our team, the players that we have, if we're playing well, we're not going to lose 6 in a row. We're not going to lose 4 games in a row. We're not going to lose. If you have a Gabriel play well, if you have Leno playing to top form, if you have Aubameyang scoring goal, if you have Partey in that midfield playing that we know Partey can play, there's no way Arsenal is losing 3 games in a row in the Premier League. It's not going to happen. That's what I'm saying. The way that we play from now on with fit players, especially starting home against Norwich, a team that's right there at the bottom of the league with us. Start now against them. Then you go away to Burnley. Should be a tougher game away to Burnley. You go up there, you grind out of the result. You have a midweek game. You play some French players against AFC Wimbledon at home, and then you welcome Spurs at home. I don't care if they're top of the league or not. Spurs should not beat at Emirates. I don't care what it is. I don't care where they're at. They have a new manager that just came in. They're not further from their logic or whatever they're doing further than us. He's just been there for 3 games. Arteta been here for 3 seasons now. Well, 2, and he came in half a season, but you know what I'm saying. He's been here for a while. So that's what I said. It's not just about the result. I think he needs to win the next 4 going into the next international break. Because if we lose the next 4 going into the next international break, you can hang it up. It's curtains. I'm not even waiting until 10 games. You know, he's got to go at that point. It's 7 games you can't win. There's nothing positive about that. I don't care what player you have. So that's where I'm at with.
Don Larry, Arteta wins 10 games on a trot, then loses 4 or 5 games. What do we do?
You see, my problem is this. For 2.5 years, Arteta has no pattern. We have no mode of play. We have no plan. This is what is. That's why in 45 games, you use 42 players. Up till now, we don't know the starting level. Nobody can say categorically who is going to play. Yes, I agree. Like I said at the beginning, all the players are fully fit. But what about if you don't use the right players in the right positions? Because he's always wanting to rotate. He's only wanting to test players from different positions. And this is what he's been doing since 2019. So that is a problem. We need to have a starting 11. We need to have a winning team, not to continue to rotate players all the time. Now, for me, I'm not going to give him 5 games. I'm going to give him 10 games straight. Wow. He may not win all, but he has to win the majority of it. We should not lose the early of the next 10 games. Because if we are serious enough, and like a chairman of the board said, if the word if is a clause, it's not affirmative. But let me follow him as such, use the word if. All the players are set and they are fully fit and they play the right play. And if Arteta use them in the right positions, I think we should be able to win the next at least 8 games to make up for the last 3 games, because we have missed out 9 points when teams are already having 7 points, 9 points, 6 points. We are 0 points. How do you make up for that? And if you want to fight for top 6, we have not played West Ham. I'm afraid of that team. Well, I don't know what the Moyes has done to West Ham. You understand? We have not played West Ham. We have not played Leicester. You see, and we have lost 9 points. How do we cover that? To cover that, you have to make sure at least out of the next 10 games, you win at worst 7. And don't lose anyone, maybe probably draw. That's what I believe that can be done. But it needs to have a pattern. We need to know what style of play. In those days, we know what Wenger plays. And I know and I've seen time for time that Wenger still they win 10 games in a row to make sure they get the championship, the Champions League spot. There was a season that after 3 games, where Arsenal was 17 in position, and when Wenger picked up, we ended up at second position. That was the year Leicester won the league. So I think that should stop playing around. It should stop remodeling. It should be I mean, affirmative in his decisions. By now, he should know his winning team. He should know his first 11. This is my own concern. I hope he will know his first 11, and Arsenal should have a pattern of play. You understand? Look. I mean, what is in Lukaku? Lukaku's style is Lukaku when he gets the ball, he will back you, and before you know, he'll push you, and then rubbish you, and then turn all of a sudden. But that was look at against Liverpool. He could not do anything against Van Dijk because Liverpool has a pattern. The manager has a tactics. And I watched that game. I found out that Van Dijk was following Lukaku every step. Before Lukaku takes a step, Van Dijk is ahead of him. I know we don't have people like Van Dijk, but I saw Lokonga yes, we don't. But at least when Van Dijk, when Mali was being bullied, Lokonga took position. And I knew how many times Lokonga fell Lukaku off the ball. You understand? The problem is there should be a tactical pattern. There should be plan A or plan B. Well, we don't have any. This is the problem. That's why we play for the two players in 12 games.
Oh, yeah. And Tim, like Larry says, come Saturday, we don't know what the starting 11 is going to be. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think just like no, yeah, you're right. We don't know, and but like coming to Saturday, and I know you're having a preview now in a minute, but my belief would be that if we get our kind of team out, get and play, like, what do I want from Saturday? We'll do our predictions in a minute, but things I would like to see. I would like to see Odegaard, Saka, maybe Aubameyang, all in a kind of a central or in attacking positions. Saka providing width, kind of that. Aubameyang maybe behind, with Odegaard behind him, and then the other big aspiration I would love to see would if Sambi Lukonga, if he played well. That's all I would, and whoever the goalie. Now I presume I'd say Ramsdale will be the goalie, but look, maybe Leno. But if the goalie had a solid performance, I mean, I'll give you predictions and scores and everything in a minute. But that's what I would like to see. They would be my aspirations. Is that, look, who are going to be the fullbacks? Who's going to be that other maybe wide player? Who are going to be our central midfielders? We don't know that because that's the problem. We have been fiddling, and worse than fiddling, I don't mind fiddling. There's always an element of experimentation. People are always afraid of stagnation. But a thing that I would that would frighten me slightly more is that we now have Norwich, I think it's Burnley, Spurs, the next 3 matches because the 4, and those 3 matches that we want to play the same formation in those 3 matches, that we're putting out a kind of a system so that the players around them. It's very hard for players like I know people are giving out about Holding is gone, Eleni is gone, Jackadow is suspended, but we have Martinelli, we have players like that we want to bring in. We have this new fullback, Tommy, he's Japanese. We have those players. We want to bring those, but we want to bring those into a system that the players that are in the system are sure what they're doing. So that we're introducing these new players, we're introducing them to a template that the players themselves that are already in it are comfortable with, and they understand their role. So that we're giving the players that we're starting off an opportunity to blossom in a kind of a secure, I suppose, without being overly protective about it, but a very kind of safe environment that they can fit into, that they can learn their trade. Because as Mumbai Gunnar was saying, there is a learning process. Like, I mean, the physicality of the Premier League, the one characteristic you always hear from players when they come from the Bundesliga or the La Liga or Serie A, wherever they come from, into the Premier League, is the physicality and the tempo. So we'll take these players. It was going to take that new fullback a while to maybe get adjusted. Sambi Lukaku is only getting settled in. Martinelli, as a player that finished last year, but between Olympics and different other things, hasn't played as much this year. So I would be of the opinion that we could settle in a system, put in players, give them time, and see how they blossom. But ultimately, 11, 12 points after 5 matches. That's what I want.
Okay. Let's go into the live chat, and we'll see who's joined us on this easy talk, and then we'll do like the Arsenal Norwich preview. So let's see if we have a moderator. Let's see who is in the live chat today. We've got Ronaldo Games said Saka, Pepe, Odegaard in front. Okay, and then Arsenal TV, which is Richard, one of our oldest subscribers, says, I would have Partey and Lokonga together in the midfield and like to see Ben White and Gabriel at CBs. That new player at right back, Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
Okay. Mube, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And that's what we're trying to say. You don't have to pick the same 11 players every game. We're not saying don't change your starting 11. I don't have a problem with him changing a player. But, like, if we're going to play with 2 center forward, let it be Aubameyang or Lacazette. Stop putting Aubameyang out wide. See, that don't. We got to personally. That's the first thing you got to quit. And you have your wingers. You have Saka, you have Pepe. We only have 3 wingers now. So you have Saka, Pepe, and Martinelli. I don't have a problem with either one of 2 of them starting. You can rest a Saka and play a Martinelli. You can rest a Pepe and play a Martinelli. But then you have to have your core of your team have to be your back 4 to be your back 4. If Tierney is fit, your right back, central defender, your 3 in midfield. Those are your players. They are most important in the spine of your team. They have to build up a relationship. So I literally love that we should be starting them together. I absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Don, were you trying to say something, Don? Did you want to say something, Don?
Yes. This is the expectation of everyone. What this guy noted here, you understand, is what everybody expected. But the problem tomorrow now, you might see Chambers and Rob Holding instead of Ben White and Gabriel. You understand? This is the problem with me and Arteta. Are you getting me? That's my main concern. You understand?
Yeah.
That's just what I need to say.
We're gonna see the starting lineup. Start lineup. We'll start drinking because I'm gonna be like, that's the thing. It makes you don't want to be the fan that see the starting lineup and then get so mad. But you look at it and you be like, why?
Yeah, exactly. So many disappointments. Tomorrow you might see your voting at Chambers. I'm telling you, you might see Kolasinac instead of Tierney. I'm telling you.
I would actually like to endorse. Sorry, I would actually like to endorse what Arsenal TV said there. I think if that team took the field, we would win. No, that's my belief. I think if that team took the field for 2 or 3 matches in a row, we would win 2 or 3 matches, and that would get us going. And
that's what they said. You've got to at least have a core.
Yeah.
Who are the core group of players?
Yes.
We don't know who the core players are. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, let's say a start. Let's say a starting. Have a starting 9, 8 or 9 players that are going to start. You have your 2 central defender, your 3 midfielder, you have your left back, your right back, and then you pick the rest of them how you want it. But 9 or 8 players should be in your team.
And Mube, another point that I think you've made anyway is that if you're picking them in a system that they all understand, so they're all comfortable in the system. Like, I think Martinelli, Pepe, Saka, Smith Rowe, they're all kind of, like, I have obviously Saka is the best of them, but not, they all deserve their chance. But like, they are the players, You bring them in, bring them out, rotate them. They're very creative players. But the template that they operate on, that functionality, that central spine, that has to be the same. And I think we started off the conversation tonight talking about the learnings. What were the good and the bad? Well, hopefully the good was that we went up and we saw that tinkering against Man City does not work.
Yeah.
And that if we learn nothing else from those, it could be a very educational game as the year goes on.
Mm-hmm.
It could be flexible with the front line, but your midfield must be solid. It must be solid. They must work together all the time, as long as there is no injury. You understand? Because that is where the football engine room is. You could be flexible with who you use in the front line. Yeah, I agree. But your midfield and your defense must be solid.
Yeah, and we have no Europa League done, Larry. We have no Thursday games. So now you're playing one game a week. You shouldn't have as much injuries that we usually have. These Carbonera game, I don't want to see Partey playing. I don't want to see Aubameyang play. I don't want to see none of these players. Nobody cares about that. We play the FA Cup when January comes. From now until January, you have to get starting the level in the.
Yeah. Well said, Mube. Well said. We've got our moderator, Gunlicious Davis, says, good evening to the panel. I hope all are well. Hello to all in the chat. Enjoy your time with Canon 4 TV. Thank you for that. And we've got two moderators. Static says, hey, Alex, and how you're all right, Static. And the panel, imagine Arsenal went into the Super League. That would have been very difficult to watch Arsenal be dismantled by those top teams. It's bad now as it is. Positives, players are coming back. That's a good one. Here's one here from Terry Hogan. Says, just in from the Spaniards in Hampstead. Looking good, guys. Thank you for that, Terry Hogan.
Terry. Live from my door, Terry.
Hey, Hotel, glad you arrived safely. Looks like Mube keeps drifting in and out of the Matrix. Yeah, his screen is lagging slightly. He's stuck in the Matrix still, but he's out. He made it. Big Dog says, hello, chaps. Alex, I found the link to watch the game for tomorrow. David Luiz was a good player for us. Not for me. Not for me. No. Not for me. Not for me.
David Luiz.
But Martinez is the best among them. Okay. I would like to see Tavares, Gabriel, White, and Tomiyasu get a good run of games. Tierney, we know, has stamped the left side down, but he gets injured too often. So we need Tavares to blood in now. What do you think, Mube?
No, not for me. Tierney is our best left back, and Tavares there. And Tavares is not good defensively for one. Have you seen him play against AFC Wimbledon? He was playing like a left winger. He's good going forward, but he still has a lot to learn. Tierney we need leader with a young team like this. He's a young player, but we always say that he should be the one getting the captain armband next. He's one of the leaders in our team. So yeah, we just need just to think through. We can't blood in. I don't have time to blood in no players right now. Yeah. We're bottom of the league. We need to put best players on the field and start in points. Tavares, his time will come. He's 19 years old. His time will come. It's time to start winning. And Tierney is a big part of that.
Okay, well said. Jared, good evening to you. He says that Mube is right. Torreira and Partey midfield pivot wouldn't have been a bad partnership. Torreira has a tendency to win the ball back, and Partey can make those midfield runs and vice versa. Tim?
Well, I think, there's definitely Partey's performances in general, I think, are often decided by who's with him. In other words, if the player with him is kind of a pragmatic, physical, stoic type of a player that performs the bread and butter stuff, he can then make these more advanced kind of plays, transition the ball up the field well. That definitely, now whether Torreira, well, that ship has sailed now, unfortunately. So I think you have to go with Sambi Lukonga looks like the one now. I think he won't let us down. I think actually Sambi Lukonga, in all the signings, in everything, he could be the ace in the pack. He could be that one player that maybe next year we're saying, look, he turned out to be a very good player. He brought balance, give us solidity where we needed it, and ultimately give us a platform for Partey to move forward. That would be my belief. So I would have no problem with Torreira, but unfortunately that option isn't available. But the one thing is looking like that we do have an option. To go back to an earlier point, and I don't mean to go back, is that like I agree totally that our back four, Tierney has to play. There's no that he has to play. Simple as that. He was our best defender last year. He is the cornerstone. He was like the matches that Tierney didn't play last year. We were only a shadow of the potential we had when he was playing. So that was so Tierney, the blooding players and everything. I understand that, and you have Carabao Cups and you'll have maybe FA Cups and stuff after Christmas, the earlier rounds possibly. So no, early on. We have to get points on the board, have to be aiming for these 4 or 5 matches, getting well into the 11, 12, 13, that sort of bracket of number of points would be my belief anyway.
Okay. OR pulled out of the deal. Looking at Arsenal in the first 3 games was enough for him to say, nah, I'll stay here. The owner wanted him gone. The price was right, but he chose to stay away. My opinion.
No.
Don, nah, I don't think that's true. But
That's not correct.
yeah, I disagree. Yeah,
Not correct.
I don't think that's true. The fishy thing about Awar is that he blows hot and cold in games, and his mentality is very poor. 1 in 5 games he looks good. Mube.
I'll let Larry take that one. He knows more about him than me. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
I don't know much about Awa. I'll tell you the truth. So
Yeah, I said I don't really watch. I only watch him in the Champions League when they went to the pretty much. I don't watch the French league like that. But you have to look at it. There's a lot surrounding this play. A lot of clubs link with him. At one point, he was supposed to be going to Tottenham. A deal thing with Arsenal being bottom league. We don't want it here anyway. You don't want those kind of players. Actually, if you're looking at a club and say they're in crisis, I don't want to go there because they're losing games, then you're an idiot. We don't need you here. So if that was the case, I'm glad he didn't come, which I don't think is the case. But a lot of clubs, I think, is looking at it. They quoted us 50 million a year ago for him. We were linked with him for 50 million. This year it's 20 million. And at one point, I hear he was available on loan. You don't think there's something fishy about it? Now, mind you, in January, we could go and sign this player on a pre-contract for free and pay nothing for him and get him for free next summer. You have to remember that too. So nobody's going to pay 20 million for a player with a year left on his contract when you can get him in January. Same thing why Kylian Mbappe didn't go to Real Madrid. They was going to pay 200 million for him. PSG wanted 3. He said, no way. We signed him for next summer. But there's something fishy about this player, and I think we just need to let that ship sail. Also, we always fantasize over players that we don't have in this club anymore, and it's a thing that us fans do, and the same thing we do. When Guendouzi was here, Alex wasn't the biggest fan of Guendouzi. I can tell you that from being up here all the time, because he plays in midfield, he slows down the game a lot, he holds the ball, he gets fouled a lot. Okay, he was good player, a good young player, but he was not finished article. So not because Arteta has shipped him out and he's a fighter. We have to remember when he was here playing for us for a while, and he was not the best player in the field all the time. He usually have 1 or 2 good games, but he's a young player. He didn't score goals. Me and Alex had a bet that he was going to score. Alex and his brother had a bet he was going to score a goal in the League or score something, and he never did it. We have to remember that too. So players that we don't have at this club anymore, we have to just move on from them. I don't really like the midfield that we have now, but there's always January we could have. What the good thing about this is, like I said, we're not in the Europa League. We're in one important game a week, which is in the Premier League, until January when they get the FA Cup. We can get another play something, but we'll see. Arteta got to get it.
Yeah. Thank you to the English Conversation Club for their £5 donation. Question: would you play Partey and Lokonga would you play Partey and Lokonga even if Xhaka is available? Don.
Is he asking us? He should ask Ateta. He shouldn't ask us. Because for me, Xhaka will not be in our team again. So he should ask Ateta. For me, yes, Partey and Lokonga all the way.
Tired of that. I'm so tired of that guy, man. Tired of him.
But I am sure, even as Xhaka is with red card now, if Ateta has a way he could appeal to FA to let him play for tomorrow, he will do it. For you to know. So please, English conversation, please. Ask Ateta, not us.
But Muba, you say you're tired of him, but you can't blame Xhaka. You can't blame Xhaka because it's the manager who keeps choosing him. You can't blame Xhaka.
I'm blaming the whole club because Xhaka for some reason Xhaka think he's Andre Pirlo or something. I don't know, man. I'm sick of this guy, man. It's just I don't know. If you give me a choice right now, if Xhaka Lee, you know how much I'm gonna rate El no point at all, and I will literally keep him here over Xhaka. I don't care. I don't care if he's a better footballer. The baggage that he comes with. It's not that he's the worst player at the club. It's just the baggage that he comes with, and he's so arrogant. He thinks he's better than he is. If he was a humble player, I don't think many people have a problem with him. But it's the arrogance on the field. The tackle that he made against Manchester City, you know, a lot of you don't get speak about a lot because he's the reason we was already 2-0 down, but you gave up on your team. That's a stupid tackle. We've seen it. It's not something that happened one side of the blue moon. We've seen it time and time again with him. He doesn't learn, and they gave him a new year. What we stuck with him for another 3 years. Oh man, it's mud.
All right, just a couple more before we go into the last segment. Terry Hogan says Ben White is short for a CB, not worth £50 million, Tim.
Well, I'm afraid myself and Terry are in agreement on this, I think. But that's where the other player is going to be so important. Because I remember, and I don't know, have I shared this anecdote with you before, but the Europa League was alive or was a central part of terrestrial television last year in Ireland. And David Luiz was playing one of the matches beside Gabriel. And as the ball was going over his head one day, he kind of pointed up like this. And Brian Kerr, who former Irish international manager, said maybe he saw a plane, and it was a bit like that. So I think we very much need the other part of that central defense to be aggressive, and like it's looking like Gabriel is going to have a big role to play. And going back to the Xhaka Elneny thing, look. Xhaka proved like with that tackle, like the Man City game was gone, but there was no need for that you had a squad with injuries, possibly COVID. You know, there was we didn't need suspensions after that, and that shows weakness or indiscipline, and so I wouldn't be a fan of his from that point of view. I'm not totally anti-Xhaka. I understand he brings a certain amount of aggression and kind of force and that kind of edge that you maybe need in central midfield. He has a certain amount of that, but look, he didn't do himself any favors, or he didn't win any fans above in Man City anyway. But I do agree that White is a small central midfield or a small centre back, and the other centre back is going to be hitting a lot of ball.
Exactly.
But Tommy is tall for right.
He is actually, I actually noticed that. Very tall.
Maybe there's a plan. Yeah. He's very tall for a right back. It's not a taller right back in the league than him. So
he's very.
We have to until we see it and see it work together. We just have to.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny, actually, in most sports, and particularly the ones let's say that I'm familiar with, is that when you attack, you can have individual creativity in attack. In other words, it can be a flair, or it can be athleticism or pace, or some like Lukaku's power or Aubameyang's speed, or these sort of players. But defending is a kind of a unit. So it's combination. So I would take that point very much on board that you could get away with a small centre back if the other players around him were maybe making up for it, and if he was obviously picking up the breaks and tidying up, can be a vital role, obviously.
Okay, let's go into the last segment. Predictions for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're back in the Premier League action after the international break. Goodness, Don, what's going to happen tomorrow? If
Yeah, if there's no affirmative because we don't know the players is going to use. So if let me use the word of chairman of the board, if it's a plus, it shows some unassurance. But well, I give it 2-0.
Okay, all right. Mube.
We're winning. We're winning. I already told you, man. We're winning. We're back. The season start. The only thing we did, we give the rest of the league a head start because we're that good. We give them a head start, and we're gonna come back.
No, but you said
we're finishing top 6.
If
buts or maybe we win tomorrow. We're winning tomorrow, and if we don't, I'm gonna tell Arteta a deal. Nah, on a serious note, they're at home tomorrow, at home to Norwich, needing the points. Our fans at home. It's not an empty stadium anymore. We have our fans behind us. It's probably going to be some negativity to start, but I think the international break came at the right time. If this was a game right off the back of that loss to Manchester City, probably would have been more difficult. Since that loss, we signed a player, and I think we'll see some positivity at the Emirates. Yeah, I definitely think we're gonna get a win. We're gonna get a clean sheet. Scam. Wishful thinking, man. 3-0 Arsenal. Let's go.
Tim.
Okay. Well, this is it. Firstly, I think we're going to win. I always believe that a team at home, a team with a big tradition, a lot of success, should win. It should win. It should beat Norwich. Like they have this Cantwell, good player. Other than that, they haven't much else. Now, what's the score? Everyone says 2-0, maybe 3-0. If it was 2-1 and we won, and Sammy Lukaku had a good game, and if we had a solid central defensive performance from whoever is beside Ben White and the other defenders, like I was saying, Mobe, if they all combined to produce a good performance, then I would believe we would be it would be a major step forward. So once we will, and I do believe we will get the 2 goals. Actually, I think that with Odegaard, Saka, and Aubameyang, that we will get. I think scoring goals. Although we haven't scored any yet, I think that's a problem that we will overcome. That actually, when we get all our players on the field, get our attacking kind of creative players on the ball, we will score goals. But I would be interesting to see how Sammy Lukaku and we call it the Gabriel White combo, etc. How they get on. If they all play well and it was just 2-1, I'd be quite happy. That to me would be a very, very strong starting point, and beat Burnley then. And now you have it back. You have the old North London derby then, and as the saying goes, you have a bit of momentum, and they've lost a bit, and away we go.
All right, guys, we'll come to an end on this second episode of the Easy Talk. Again, there's a lot of comments in live chat I just can't get to. I did say we're going to try and keep this to an hour. We're an hour and almost 25 minutes, but it's because we'll have a wonderful debate and discussion on Cannon Foyer TV. But before we end it, first of all, I want to thank our moderators. I've just seen some comments in the live chat having to be deleted because people have been a little bit silly. There's always one, isn't there, to spoil it. But apart from that, it went okay. Tim, good to have you back on Cannon Foyer. I know it's been the longest time, but patience, my friend. If, and more ifs. Thank you, Tim, for coming back on Cannon Foyer TV, my friend.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Great for the invite. Really enjoyed it. Mo Beguner, great to chat with you. Don, Larry, brilliant to talk to you. So great, lads. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the match. Alex, thank you for inviting me. Bye.
Okay, and Mube Guna.
As always, man. As always.
Yeah.
They already know Mube is here. We ain't going nowhere. Win, lose, or draw. We're going to come here. We're gonna keep it positive. We're gonna keep the shirt hanging in the back. It's getting rough, but we're gonna hang in there, man. Arsenal till death. You already know, man. Appreciate it for having me on as always.
Yeah, always, man. Don Larry.
Yeah. Thanks, man, for the invite.
No worries. No
I,
worries.
I love being here tonight. It's been a while, and I like being back. And I believe that Arsenal will win tomorrow. And I know I won't be on Easy Talk next week, but I'll be on live chat. They will comment and we'll celebrate together. But if and only if the players play accordingly, and only if Ateta did not surprise us tomorrow. One love, one love, one love.
Too many ifs. So that's it, guys.
Yeah.
You know, that is another end of another Easy Talk. I mean, the time's flying. It was just the other day that we did the first episode. But anyway, it was an hour and 25 minutes well spent. And to everyone who watched us, I saw maximum was like 30 people at any one time watching us on this Friday evening or afternoon, wherever you are. But it leaves me to say thank you to everyone who watched us. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow morning. I'm not doing pre-games or post-game reactions. I don't have any more hair to lose. No more hair to lose. And that is it for me. But anyway, guys, have a good evening. And you have been watching Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.